What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. And this one is possibly going to get us in trouble. There's probably no chance in hell this video is going to get monetized, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to try to appeal it, and I don't think I'm going to be successful.
I'm going to state in the first 30 seconds of this review, we're going to get popped, and that'll be it. I don't think that appealing is going to win in this case.
Well, time to show you why. We are going to go over the debut full-length from Cancer Christ, God is Violence. This comes out on the 5th of January on Seeing Red Records. This band formed in 2020, maybe? I couldn't find out when exactly this band formed, but I know they formed in Los Angeles, California. This is their debut full-length, though it does include their two previous EPs, The Blood of Jesus, which came out in 2021, and Satan is a Bitch, which came out last year. And this is a hardcore crossover, twisted train wreck of just religious, hateful...
blasphemy.
It's a thing of beauty. We saw this band live at Heavy Hell, and their performance was definitely memorable as hell. They baptized people in some weird black liquid. They were spraying blood everywhere. Pretty sure I saw the singer chug a bottle of vodka just before getting on stage.
Yep, they set fires, they burned Bibles and then ripped them up. Unforgettable experience. I'll never forget seeing that.
Yes, and I will never forget listening to this album because this absolutely captures their sound. This is one of the most twisted, maniacal things I've listened to, well, all year. But yeah, no, that one's easy. But honestly, in a while. Like, this is definitely hardcore and crossover, but with the interesting themes and the just irreverent, cynical nature of this, it's just brimming with hostility, and it's kind of wild, and I think this band has rabies. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I think this band has rabies, and they love Mr. Bungle, and
yes.
They love God.
Well, they love God in a sense. They love to poke fun at God,
or at least his followers.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Very much comparable again to Mr. Bungle. In fact, we said that when we saw him live, and then when we sat down to eat lunch, they sat next to us, and the guitarist was wearing a Mr. Bungle shirt. So, makes total sense.
Now, this band's themes are really interesting. Like, this isn't your standard blasphemy because they are coming across as what they're calling real Christians, and they're not like praising Satan or anything like that. Like, that's kind of like standard fare for blasphemy. They are like the most embellished form of every negative trope about fervently religious people out there, and they take it and even go beyond every possible measure. And believe me, it'll show in the song titles. Point blank, this album, this band, this entity does not give a shit who it pisses off, and it is apparent right out of the gate. The opening track is kind of an intro. I mean, it says Hail Christ intro, but Hail Christ is a theme that kind of goes throughout this with these little mini tracks kind of peppered all over. You have Hail Christ 1, and then, well, the next one's Hail Christ 5. This time it's personal. And then you get Hail Christ 2, Crucifixion Boogaloo. That isn't what it says, but I feel like that's what it should say. But they're like little mini tracks to kind of just keep the hailing going. But yeah, the first real track is Do You Want to Go to Heaven? And like, it sounds like an invite, but once you get down to it, it's just this explosive, gnarly punk thrash song. And yeah, it says Do You Want to Go to Heaven? But it also calls you a little bitch. So yeah, the attitude is just all over the place on here.
And as if that wasn't enough, the next track, Baptized in Piss and Shit. Right there. There goes our monetizing.
That's it.
Punky, thrash, spastic. Reminded me a lot of Snot.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here that... It reminds me of bands that are, you know, kind of metal, kind of not. Like, if the Jesus Lizard ever decided to do like a full-on grindcore, crossover, hardcore album, I think it would kind of sound like this. There's lots of squawky, atonal riffs, you know, big down-pick punk riffs, and then, you know, some big metal moments on here. like God Made Me Do It, Bring Back the Guillotine, which I think is just a flat out metal jam and probably one of the more groovy numbers on here because most of this is just full throttle going as fast as hell. And then, here goes the monetization for sure. God Bless the Rapists, which is pretty much a nice little, couple of pot shots at the Catholic Church and, the things they do.
That song is for sure a beatdown. Make Them All Dead. Dude, the angry riff at the end, the breakdown in that song is gnar.
And the riff work on here is really cool. Like, you get a good mix of punk. You also have, like, a lot of thrash metal and hardcore breakdowns. Blast beat sections. You get some songs that are a little bit more, like, grindcore-ish, like Prosperity Preacher and Blood of Jesus. They're short. They're just violent. They're a little bit more blast beat driven. But this whole album, I think, thrives on its twisted atmosphere. Like, this thing kind of just keeps you off balance at all times. Like, it's almost disorienting because there's constantly noise and vocal layers, and the vocals will shift around in the album a lot. Like, one second he's yelling at you from over here, the next second he's yelling at you from over here, then he's right here yelling at you, and it's all vulgar and awesome.
Gang vocals, it's always in your face. Even the last track, The Sermon, where it's a sermon, and the stuff he says is, wow. But I mean, at all times, it's right here in your face, screaming at you.
And while this definitely feels like it's a lot of cynicism and satire, I feel like there's, like an underlying political, socio-political statement to a lot of these, like, God hates cops. Not sure, he might, I don't know. But, I mean, it definitely seems like an attack on police brutality and such. And then God Made Me Do It is essentially, people going too far with what they believe they hear in their head is the voice of God. And Tithe or Die, which kind of seems like that's how the church operates, in my opinion. But yeah, a lot of this is just sort of like an explosive commentary on a lot of, like, stuff that, we kind of see in religion. But musically, again, it's kind of all over the place. Like, when you think you have this band kind of centered on one sound, it can kind of just flip. Like, there's stuff on here that definitely reminds me of, like, S.O.D., but then it can get a little bit stranger, and it starts sounding like bands like Dog Fashion Disco. Mm-hmm. And ironically enough, there's some stuff in here that reminds me of the band Amen, especially their second album. Yeah. All that squawky feedback and dissonance. And again, the commentary is very similar.
But then again, too, there are a lot of songs that are a lot of fun. Do You Want to Go to Heaven? Even though that song is violent as all get out, the lyrics are a riot. Jesus Got a Big Old Cock? I mean, the chorus in there is, spot on.
I mean, when you have a song title like that, you better repeat it, and they do. Like, they build a breakdown around, like, a gang vocal of that song title, and it's amazing.
Satan is a Bitch, that's an entertaining chorus. Make Them All Dead. I'm not going to repeat what's in there because, we're already screwed, but I'm not going to repeat what's in there. But that song is definitely very entertaining.
A lot of the stuff I would say is like kind of close to like that shock rock thing, especially if you see them live. Again, their getup is pretty incredible. There's people in cobra masks or lizard masks, and then the frontman is dressed up as a priest because that totally makes sense. And they're hosing everyone in blood, and it's very entertaining. But man, when you get down to Satan is a Bitch, there is a breakdown in there that has an absolutely fantastic riff to it, but it's the lyrics on that one. There's a whole bit where they're just yelling Satan is a bitch as a gang chorus. Underneath it, there is a line that says, "Let's fuck a corpse for fun." And it's the way he says it. It's like a suggestion, like, you bored? Like, I got, like, some ideas. Like, we're probably going to go to jail and have a lot to explain. But, you down?
Do you want to maybe, I don't know,
crack open a cold one? But this album as a whole, I just kind of dig the whole vibe of it. Mm-hmm. Like, it is just intense, no breaks. The atmosphere, again, is disorienting and creepy. Like, you have the weird little interludes every now and then that are, just appropriately haunting before the next song absolutely explodes in your face like buckshot. Kind of like the album cover down there, which, that might get us in trouble too.
We're going to hell for this one.
I've had a seat reserved for years.
I, too, have been on the bus for quite some time.
And I gotta say, I love the vocals on here. Like, they are maniacal. There's shrieks, yells, bellows, occasionally like a croon where he's just saying something super offensive. It's very dramatic at all times. There's death metal roars. It kind of reminds me of like Billy Milano from S.O.D. Like, he found religion and then shit all over it and started wearing a priest outfit. Like, it kind of has that vibe because everything on here is just cynical, a middle finger to anyone that can see it. And I don't know, I kind of just like that. I like the fact that this album is just so transparent about who they want to offend and doing it in a unique way. Like, again, it's not that, we worship Satan instead of God. It's like, that's an old hat. Everyone's doing that these days. Let's get weird about it and really kind of throw the commentary like right back in their face. So I kind of dig that. I do think at times they get a little heavy on the atmosphere and it can drown out some of the really solid riffs on here because there's constantly just like noise going on and squeals, and I think there's like keyboards in there occasionally. There's definitely a lot of samples. It's a very busy sounding album when it comes down to that. Plus the vocals are going off at all times. Like, I don't think there are a lot of instrumental breaks in here.
No.
I think occasionally you get like some isolated riffs, but those don't last long because the next screaming shit fit of religious violence is just coming at you. The drum work I think is solid as hell.
It's insane.
Dude's going.
Yep.
Like, it is just fast. And it's kind of got that punky looseness, but, I mean, he's pretty fucking spot on.
Yeah, very talented. There's not a whole lot going on as far as, like, technicality is concerned, but when you think about, punk or thrash or even grind, like, it's a shit fit, and he's nailing the shit fit on all accord. Like, there's nothing left to the imagination. It's just full bore all the time. Like, the whole band is cooking.
So, yeah, this album was about as much fun as I thought it would be, and honestly, way more fun than any church I've ever been in. So overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. I dig this. This is a very Mr. Bungle-ish, explosive, mean-spirited, cynical shit fit of an album, but it is executed incredibly well. This band blends punk, hardcore, and metal very well. It is a non-stop barrage of riffs and insanity. The vocal performance in here is just absolutely nuts. And this will definitely offend people. I am reasonably sure that there are going to be some people that are like super pissed about this album, but I don't care because I had a great time listening to it. I think this band should headline riots, home invasions, carjackings, and arsons. And I will try to attend as many of those as possible so I can at least get a shirt and watch them possibly get arrested. I'm pretty sure that'll be fun too. If you're a big fan, again, of like Mr. Bungle and shit, man, Dog Fashion Disco, I guess, S.O.D, M.O.D, Municipal Waste, just fast, violent, irreverent, mean-spirited albums. It's that. It is 100% that. Check this album out.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. I agreed with Nick pretty much from the rip. You get into Do You Want to Go to Heaven, and it's off to the races immediately. There's not a lot of downtime, even in the Hail Christ moments, even in the sermon, which is a sermon. I mean, it's nonstop in your face. Again, the vocals stylistically are done so well, and it's an absolute riot. It's pretty much just a big fuck you in your face to everybody. And I found it to be grossly entertaining. I mean, musically, it is a nonstop barrage. They're constantly in your face, even though the songs are really short for the most part. I mean, 90% of these songs are no longer than like a minute and a half. So it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other. The vocal content, I think, really keeps it entertaining, though. I, of course, like fast, heavy music. And while this isn't heavy all the time, it is in the sense that it's just non-stop, just throwing it at you. Again, if you're fans of bands like Snot, Mr. Bungle, S.O.D, M.O.D, Biohazard, Birdflesh, Municipal Waste, Faith No More, like, you're gonna get all of that. And again, just grossly entertaining, pure insanity, non-stop violence, non-stop in your face. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna bang your head. It's a great record. So yeah, 4 stars for me.
So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon is there. It is also on our channel. But thrallsmetal.com is where you go to get Thralls Metal stuff. We have new shirts. We have old shirts that are discounted. We even have hats. So if you're looking for any of that stuff, click the link down below.
And as always, tons of stuff going on here at Thralls of Metal. We got the Black Dahlia Murder ranking coming. He's always got stuff going on because he's always got stuff going on. I'm sure he's going to add another 15,000 CDs to his collection this year. What's John Jammin is coming back. We got some States of Metal going on. I'm sure we're going to have a couple interviews here and there, some live streams. Just tons of stuff. Always stuff going on. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much for allowing us into your homes for yet another year. Here we are in 2024. Thralls of Metal is about to enter its 6th year. We're really happy for that. But we couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much, Nick.
Yeah, you guys rule. It is amazing doing this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what 2024 brings us. I'm reasonably sure it'll be more metal albums. Anyway, you guys are absolutely amazing, and we will catch you later.